Daniel Tokar at the Willow Forge in Shepherdstown, West Virginia. I'm about to make a little overlap weld in a piece of wrought iron just to even out the end. And I've got a train coming too. This shows what noisy neighbors the railroad are. Daniel Tokar here at the Willow Forge in Shepherdstown, West Virginia. And what I'm going to do is pull out this piece of wrought iron at pretty much a welding heat just to consolidate the little weld on the end, but also to put the scarf, the peak in the center, if you will, when I fold it over again. So here we go. That's the bevel for the scarf. I angle the hammer, and I want to end up with a smooth, shallow peak right down the center of the bar. Daniel Tokar here again. Now what I'm going to do is turn the wrought iron piece over on itself so that the scarf side is facing in. I use the wire brush to make it a little cleaner and get it about halfway over. See how that's going. Right, and I've got this piece. Alright, need to open that up just a little bit. That is an old file that will be the core. Hard steel in this knife. I'm going to take just a little bit of borax to help, particularly since the high carbon steel in the file doesn't like as much heat as the wrought iron, but the wrought iron's on the outside, which will help this quite a bit. So it all goes back in the fire. All right. One of the things about making videos for YouTube is that I've actually got a lot more light on the forge than I normally do when I'm welding. So it does change the colors that I'm seeing a little bit. You might see it as fairly dark, but that's partly because I've got filters on the camera to try and cut the glare from the yellow hot metal when I bring it out of the fire. So this is still an experiment in filters and videography, seeing what we can get away with. Anyway, what I'm working toward is a copy of a 2nd century Norse knife that was found in a bog. It's one of the earliest Norse style pieces they've ever found that still has the wooden handle intact on it, carved into a nifty little eagle. I've never seen a metallurgical examination of the blade, so I don't really know what the blade is, other than that being 2nd century AD. It's probably a bloom iron body with either a little bit of steel that was made for a case hardening on the iron. Alright, I'm going to turn this over so that we get a little more even heat. A little more even heat. Very slowly at this point. It's very close. I don't want to burn up that nice piece of file that's in there. So the heat has to be pretty careful. Here we go. Very gently. Files are kind of brittle at forge welding temperatures. And you don't need a huge amount of force to get it to weld. It's at the right temperature and it's clean. Right here, this is just going together nicely. And I'm going to take off the excess bit. Look at that. And the rest of it looks quite happy. What I will do is draw it out at a welding heat, which will give me an insurance weld, so to speak, as well as making it easier to draw out. So, it goes back in the fire. As I've said in another video, I'm rather fond of hand crank blowers and coal forges because I get a lot more control over the heat. I can feather the temperature second by second. I can also feather the atmosphere because the amount of air going in there gives me either a very hot oxidizing fire, a neutral fire, or a reducing fire. And depending on where I put the piece in the height of the fire also gives me control over whether it's oxidizing, neutral, or reducing. So having a hand crank blower and a fairly deep fire gives you lots of options for how you can do this. Now that's very close to a welding heat. You're allowed to poke a window in there and actually see what you're doing. All right, ready to do this again. Okay, that's very nicely welded. Okay, I'm now going to be forge welding the little handle on the end of the bulk of the wrought iron for this Norse knife. Okay, here we go. Okay, that gives me a nice little handle now. Now what I'm going to do is square this thing out and twist it with a fairly fast twist. And even though it is basically just a pile of wrought iron bits and pieces that have been welded together out of my scrap pile, there's maybe half a dozen little bits and pieces of wrought iron that I welded together to make this little bar. It will have a grain just from the weld lines, and the differences in the grain of each piece of wrought iron that went into it, which is a little closer to what you might see in a piece of bloom iron than just taking a piece of Victorian wrought iron and using that as a single piece, because Victorian wrought iron tended to be a little bit more homogeneous and a little bit more worked than a piece of bloom iron would ever be. So we get a little bit of that graininess from having those different bits and pieces. So I'm going to turn it into a square and do a fairly fast twist on it, because I think the twists on a lot of that early migration era and Viking era pattern welded stuff was done as a test of the soundness of the metal. They welded it together and then twisted it to see if it would fall apart, to see if the welds would give. I don't think that thing about them taking little strips and twisting them together and then welding them together after they were twisted really is the way they did it. It seemed like such a waste of time. But anyway, like a lot of my ideas, it might not be true. Just that square. Alright. I'll keep this up and twist it. So, change the camera. Okay, we're about ready to twist this bar. Take the wire brush and get the scale off of it. Put that in the vise. Bending wrench. And nice even torque. Right, that's a nice bit. We'll take the scale off. Right, I think I might be able to bend that even just a little bit more. Go. Again, Daniel Tokar at the Willow Forge. We're going to use the trip hammer to run that twisted bar down close to a welding heat. And we'll consolidate weld and draw it out to the length we need for the final weld. continue beveling. A piece of wrought iron. Bevel, tilt the middle, bevel a little more. Hey. Okay, I'm going to fold over the iron piece. So I'm going to use the cutoff here just to notch it to make it easier to bend without distorting. Got it marked. Hit it just once or twice, enough to notch it well. Okay, there's a nice fold. And this is the wrought iron with a piece of old file in it. Getting these things nicely lined up. That looks good. I'm going to put it in the vise and use a little bit of binding wire. Use a little bit of binding wire to keep it from shifting, because there's not a whole lot of grip right there. So if I take a little bit of wire, keep it from slipping around. Just a little piece of wire. And of course, what I'm going to do is weld just the very front of that, so that I won't be welding the wire in place. Broke the wire. What I get for using an old piece of wire tighten it up a little bit. I kink the edges of the wire, and that shortens them just a little bit. Try and make sure everything as even as possible. And then I will flex it and put it back in the fire. A little bit of borax. You don't need a whole lot of borax, just a very light powdering. And that will go back in the fire. Okay, continuing on with the Norse, early Norse knife, the iron knife. I've had the billet in the forge for a little while, and it's close to forge welding heat. But all I really want to do is forge weld the last 2 to 3 inches of it. And then I'll take the wire off, put it back in, and forge weld the rest of the bar down. Alright, this is looking pretty good here. I'm actually going to put a glove on my left hand. There we go. That's enough to stick the billet together, so I can take the binding wire off. So that won't screw up the pattern. We don't want any pieces of binding wire to show up in the pattern. There really won't be much of a pattern in this thing because that's kind of the point. These early iron knives were basically just worked enough so that the bloom was consolidated, and they really weren't going for patterning as much as they were going for consolidation. They wanted the metal to be solid. A lot of the patterning came later after they noticed that the stuff they had worked to consolidate also had patterns in it. So this will go back in the fire. And I'll weld the whole thing together now so that I can get the whole thing hot. It'll still probably take 2 or 3 overlapping welds to make sure I've got that whole length properly welded. And welding temperature also makes it easier to draw out. Put it up on edge at the moment so that all 3 layers in there will be getting a little more even heat. If you put it flat, it sometimes heats the bottom one a lot more than the top one or the middle one. And even if you flip it over and over 180 degrees, you still tend to have the core be cooler than either face. Now if I flip it, it's more that the right side and the left side will have the same temperature. And I do have a little window between the pieces of coal and coke here where I can actually see the color of the metal. Wrought iron has a fairly high welding temperature, about 2,500, 2,600 degrees. Which is a bright yellow going toward white. I'm still having problems with the filters on the camera, so what you're seeing actually looks a lot hotter than it is. sir. Almost ready to weld. Okay, here we go. Okay. Evening out the edges. The next forge weld will actually go all the way to the edges. The center of that's welded, but there are still seams on the edges. Just a little bit of flux. Flux is not glue. It's only a cleaning agent. Back in the fire. Great. Hey, this will be the third welding on the full billet. With the Iron Age, well, it's actually early Norse knife blade. Very close to welding heat now. I've got it welded down the center. What I have to do now is make sure it's welded all the way out to the edges. Just trying to keep it even. Ooh. All right. And it looks pretty well welded. Put a little flux on it anyway and draw it out. Get close to a welding heat. Hey. Okay, I'm going to draw out the finished billet on the trip hammer. Okay, so what I've done is I've taken that long billet that we just forged on the trip hammer, and I've taken off the iron bar, the helper bar, broken that off, turned it around, and I'm going to forge weld the slightly frizzy end that will be the tang. I'd originally thought of this billet as being something to make 3 of these iron age Norse knives. And now I'm thinking that I might want to do is get a couple of knives and a seax out of it, because this billet is big enough that I think I can get a nice seax and a couple of good sized knives out of it. So let's see what I can do. I think I'm going to actually bend that over and weld it back again. Right. As some people would say, I'm going to end it rightly. Ah. Ready to weld again. All right, here we go. And that weld has basically become invisible. You can't see where any of that joined up. Yep, that's rather nice. Okay, so what I'm going to do, I think, is draw this bar out to something around 1/4 of an inch thick and maybe not quite this wide, and actually see what kind of length I've got. Like I say, I am hopeful that there's enough material in there to do a seax and maybe a couple of knives. But we shall see. Okay, so we're about ready to draw out the bar closer to the finished size. Right now it's about 1/2 inch thick and 1.25 wide and a little over 1 foot long. A bit thick. So, just about ready here. There we go. Just straightening it out on the anvil. And now it's about 5/16 by 1 1/8 inches on that end. And I've got to turn it around and do the other side of the bar about the same. Alright, other side goes in the fire. Turned around. Alright, I've turned it around and I'm ready to draw out the second end of the blade, of the bar to the blade, and a nice welding. Back to straightening it. Alright, I'm going to forge out the tang and a rough bar for the little knife that comes off one end of this thing. That's nice and hot. So we really need all right. Does not take long for that little tang to get hot. Tang on the little knife is probably only about 3.5 to 4 inches long, because the tangs do not go all the way through the handle. I think they were set with some sort of organic adhesive, probably pine resin, other things. Okay, that's almost the right length. I have my little diagram over there. Yeah, that's almost exactly the length. All right. Alright, that's the tang. Now I work my way up a little bit. And what I am going to end up with is about a 7-inch long blade. But I have to start out by making that a lot narrower. What I'm shooting for is about 7/8 of an inch wide and about 1/4 of an inch thick, and probably about 5 inches long to forge out a 7-inch long blade. The blade will end up about 1 1/8 inch wide once I forge in the bevel. I used my nice little aluminum folding rule here to do some measurements. Still about 5/16 of an inch thick. Close to the right width. And I've got 4 inches of it there, so maybe just another inch up there. Just a little bit more length. Could be a little narrower too. Okay. See if I've got enough of that at the right size and length. 5 will make 7. 5/16. So I could actually cut this off then and forge it out separately. So I have my little cutoff hardy. And I'm going to cut it at a little bit of an angle so it'll make it easier to forge the point out. to do that carefully. Oops. Shouldn't have gone all the way through. But anyway. So, that's the rough form. Alright, I've cut the little knife off of the big bar. I've got it very hot, and I'm going to forge the tip. Okay. Tilting the whole thing so that I can get the bevel started. And you see how the point comes up when I do that. That's why they always look backwards when you're first hammering them out. Also a good idea to keep your anvil as clean as possible, because every little bit of scale and dirt that you hammer into the blade is something you're going to have to file or grind out later on. Keep going. There is no ricasso. There's no square part. The bevel goes all the way back to the wooden handle in these old style knives. You do have to be careful not to burn the edge. Things are thin enough . This is sort of the pattern picture taken of the original knife. Most knife forging, you have to worry about decarburization. Something like this, it's an iron knife, so the worst that can happen is you actually gain a little bit of carbon. almost the shape of the knife. We want to end up at just about 7 inches. And there's 7 inches, so we're just about there. You have to straighten it out and do the profile a little better. Okay, that's almost the perfect shape. You have to grind a little bit off of the profile to true everything up, so you want it just to be a tiny bit bigger than the pattern. The closer you get to the finished shape, the lower the forging temperature. This cuts down on the scaling, but it also gives you a better grain. Though again, this is more a habit I have from working with modern carbon steels. This is a piece of iron with a little bit of steel in it, so it's not quite the same thing. But still, I don't want to get into bad habits. All I'm really doing at this point is straightening and correcting a little bit. Almost there. I'm actually quite happy with that profile. Now I've got to put it in the fire on its back, so to speak. I put it edge up in the fire, and I have to get it above the critical temperature to take the stress out of the little piece of carbon steel that is in there, because it would be bad. So all I'm going to do is get it up to a dull red, and then I have some fly ash, which I use as my annealing material media, and I'll just put that in there till tomorrow. Have to come up slowly on this, because again, you don't want to have it at temperature longer than you need to. You can get bad grain growth. And again, that's more a habit I have from dealing with carbon steels than from iron. Okay, there's the nice blade. Going to take a nap in the dirt. Okay, so now that I've put the little knife to bed, I can forge out the rest of the bar into a bar that's close to when I can start forging out the sacks. And it's still a little wide and still a little thick. So I'll thin it out. It's also got to have, on a blade that long, it's got to have a little bit of a taper. So that's going to happen too. Up one side and down the other. It's nice to try and keep it even, if for no other reason than I'm a foot budget. Sometimes it matters, sometimes it doesn't. Okay, so that is just about an inch wide and just about a quarter of an inch thick. The rest of the bar is about 5/16 and a little over an inch. Pick up the brush. It's really hard to use tools when they're on the floor. So I don't recommend storing them on the floor. That's where a lot of them end up anyway. So it's just about 5 o'clock, and I've spent 6 hours out of today just making this one bar of stock to make a little knife and a seax. And they're far from done. You've just made the metal and got the rough dimensions for the bars that will get forged into the seax. It's actually looking rather nice. I'm going to turn it around and start forging the back end down. But I'll get a rough idea of blade length. We need to leave enough for a tang. And we've got 15 inches, which will probably forge out to 18 when we put the tapers and bevels on. So yeah, it will be a good size sax. You've heard of sax and violence, haven't you? It's what television and YouTube are all about. See, these are the boring bits that most people leave out of their YouTube videos, showing you just how much time it takes to heat something up and just even it out to the right dimensions. You can spend an hour just going over one bar. Also, the fire is getting a little hollow in places, but that'll be good enough for this. I don't think I would want to weld in this fire. There's a good sized clinker that's built up in the bottom. But I figure I've only got about another half an hour of forging. So I'm not going to bother to dig it out. Get it when I break down the fire tomorrow. One more time. And I'll be ready to put it to bed for the evening. I'll forge the bevels and the tang tomorrow. Hey, just a quick check. Okay. That will do for today. All right. Great. I decided just to continue on with the tank. I've got a little more time than I thought. Hey, a little more. Alright, we'll keep going. We want a nice, fairly heavy tang on this thing. These things were long and heavy enough to be pokey as well as choppy. does not take much to get a tang hot. Nice long tang. That tang is just about 6 inches long, and it might be a little thicker than we need, but it leaves us a rough bar that is, again, about 15 inches long, which will forge out to about an 18-inch long blade. I think that's just about right. That is just about right. Okay. Turn it around again. Stick the tip in. Alright, now we go on to forging the tip of the seax. There's the tip. And I've actually got a reason for moving that over to there. Rather than forging out. Like the easy direction, well, actually, it's better this way. Speed it up. Does not take long. Okay. Tip. Okay. To start, part of the taper and bevel on the tip of the seax. trains from time to time visiting. They don't stay long. They have places to go, things to do. turn it around and do the bevel toward. And okay, I see a little bit of a jog there too. Continue straightening. Okay, that's not a bad rough place to go. I will put it to bed in the ashes and work on it some more tomorrow. Of course, dropping it on the floor is always a good move. But the blade's at about 17.5, and by the time I do the final things on it, I think it will be about 18. Got some good taper on it. All right, so now I'm going to put it to bed in the ashes. So I'll heat it up above the critical temperature and cool it slowly in the ashes and work on it. Got to get a spot in the ashes ready for it. There. Do a long heat. Okay, so the whole blade is hot. Put it in the ashes. Play with it tomorrow. Okay, off you go.